US looks for fair, sustainable end to Russian war on Ukraine. February 20, 2025. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Tuesday that the United States is working toward a fair and sustainable solution to end Russia's 3-year war on Ukraine, but that both Moscow and Kiev would have to make concessions to achieve peace. Rubio offered his assessment after he and other key U.S. officials met for more than 4 hours in Saudi Arabia with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his aides in a first effort toward ending the war and improving the contentious Washington-Moscow relationship. The goal is to bring an end to this conflict in a way that's fair, enduring, sustainable and acceptable to all parties involved, Rubio told reporters, although no Ukrainian or European officials were at the table for the talks. Rubio said he was convinced that Moscow was willing to engage in a serious process to end the war which Russia started with a full-scale invasion of its neighbor 3 years ago next week. Lavrov had a similar upbeat view of the talks, saying, "We weren't just listening to each other, but we heard each other. I have reason to believe that the American side started to better understand our positions." Rubio said Ukraine and European nations would have to be involved in talks on ending the war. He said that if the war is halted, the US would have extraordinary opportunities to partner with Russia on trade and other global issues. Russia now controls about a fifth of Ukraine's internationally recognized 2014 territory. Moscow controls the Crimean Peninsula that it unilaterally annexed in 2014, along with a large portion of eastern Ukraine pro-Russian separatists captured in subsequent fighting, and lands the Russian militaries have taken over since the 2022 invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has long demanded that his country's 2014 boundaries be restored, but EU.S officials have said that is unrealistic, as was Kiev's long-sought goal of joining NATO, the West's main military alliance, as part of a negotiated peace settlement. Zelensky has said it will not agree to a US-Russian-dictated settlement of the war. He postponed a trip to Saudi Arabia that had been scheduled for this week, citing the fact that officials from his country were not invited to Tuesday's US-Russia talks. The Ukrainian leader suggested that he wanted to avoid his visit being linked to the talks and rescheduled the trip for March 10. Zelensky is due to host the U.S. envoy for Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, for talks on Wednesday. The US-Russia engagement sparked concern among European leaders who in recent days have highlighted the need for Ukraine to be involved in discussions about its future and for European nations to play a role in what they also see as a key development for their own security. French President Emmanuel Macron convened a group of European leaders for a Monday session in Paris, where they discussed boosting defense spending and potential security guarantees for Ukraine. There was division on the idea of deploying peacekeepers to Ukraine as part of a potential end to the war, with governments such as Britain and Sweden expressing openness to the idea, while German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that discussion was premature. By VOA News.